Welcome to the Mortgage Broker Podcast, tailor-made for Canadian mortgage industry professionals. Proudly presented by A Better Way Mortgage Group, this podcast is your trusted source for insider insights, market updates, and strategies to elevate your career in the ever-evolving world of mortgage brokering. Whether you're a seasoned broker with A Better Way Mortgage Group or an industry enthusiast looking to stay ahead, our episodes are designed to empower you with the knowledge and tools you need to excel in the Canadian mortgage space. All right, we're back for another episode of the Mortgage Broker Podcast, and this is a continuation of the Behind the Broker series. Special guest Ben Cho has joined us. He's one of our top agents at A Better Way. Actually, quite an impressive new to industry performance you put on this year. So really interested to jump into that, and that's really going to be kind of the frame of this episode is your journey from banker to broker, because you're the prototypical example of that. And Derek's joining us as well. So we're just going to have a conversation about just that, your journey from banker to broker and, some of the challenges that you had over the course of your career. Ultimately, I want to start out with just who is Ben and why did you join the bank so many years ago? And let's start there.
Well, it's a good question. I'm going to go way back. When I was in high school, I was studying science, and my dad actually said, you should study accounting. I'm like, well, okay. So when I went to university, SFU, I actually studied accounting, and I hated accounting. So as I was taking accounting courses, then I realized, hey, and I took some finance courses, and I actually enjoy finance.
Right.
So I was studying finance in my third year, and then there's opportunity to apply for co-op job. What I learned is that there in that year, I don't know what happened, but there's only one co-op position available, which is Personal Financial Services Representative at RBC. And I applied and got the job, and that's how I started in banking.
Wow. So what did that role look like, and like from what were your responsibilities in that role, and ultimately how did that kind of morph into being a specific mortgage specialist?
It's an entry-level financial advisor job. So you open a bank account, line of credit, credit cards, and then that will, that's a good intro to doing a mortgage and also investments. So I was able to, see everything.
So were you trying to go into mortgages? Like, was that a goal of yours when you were at the bank, or how did that transition happen? Because obviously when you're at the bank, you can go into investments, you can go into insurance, there's different avenues. How did that, like to Dean's question, how did you land in mortgages, and when did you know it's something that you wanted to move forward with and make a career out of?
That's a very good question, because in general, is it either you're a lender, can you do lending, or you do investment?
Yeah.
But what happened was, when I got into the co-op job, I heard there's a old grandma crying in the branch manager's office. I'm like, what happened? It turned out that's after the dot-com bubble bursted, and she lost her life savings.
Oh wow, terrible.
And that happened a few times, and then I was like, oh my goodness, investment is dangerous. Yeah. Then I was looking, and I was like, oh crap, I don't want to do something dangerous. I want to do something more secure. So I naturally became a lender. And that's why it's like, actually, I'm a certified financial planner. I did study the investment as well. But I realized, you know what? I prefer lending. Lending more secure. You got land, you got a house. It's a little different than investing in stocks, right? And everybody different. I do have stocks, mutual funds, everything. But I prefer lending over investment.
That's a great point.
Yeah, it's a great point. It makes a lot of sense. I guess, like, just going back to your first role in the banking industry was at RBC. What year was that? And then how long did it take for you to transition to just lending?
That was back in 2001. Holy, I feel old. I've been doing this for a long time. And after I graduated, I ended up going to CIBC, doing the same thing, something similar. But what happened was, every manager that I had mentioned that, you'll be a great mortgage specialist. I was like, oh, that's interesting. But I never thought about it because, I got married and I have a wife and a young kid, and it was nerve-wracking to think about living on commission 100% commission, right? So I didn't do it for a long time. It's a long time until 2014. I was working as a senior account manager with Van City. And the branch manager at the time, he actually talked to the director of the mobile channel without telling me and say, hey, I spoke to so-and-so, and he'll reach out to you.
And so that was ultimately how it evolved. And so that call happened, and essentially what, they offered you a position to just be a mobile mortgage specialist. And
we had a meeting. We had a conversation about what I do, and I told him I do enjoy problem solving. I do enjoy mortgage lending. I said, hey, he said, you'll be a great candidate when the position opens up. Let's have a meeting. So it opened up around that was summer. In August, a new position came up in North Road area in Burnaby. And he's like, hey, why don't you apply? And then I got the job.
Yeah, it's really cool. And I mean, knowing that you got into especially the commission side of our industry in 2014, to your point about investments, carrying risk and whatnot, from 2014 up until now, other than the last 2 years, things have been pretty good for people that have been in the real estate market, right? So that must have been a big positive for yourself, and essentially taking care of your clients, right, and their investment. Now you're on the broker side, there's a whole transitionary conversation there, which comes with a lot of risk and fear and challenges and learning curves. Knowing what you know right now, what motivates you to continue as a mortgage broker?
I would say I would compare being a bank mortgage specialist versus being a mortgage broker. I worked with Van City 9 years. I started working as a mortgage specialist. I left Van City when the credit union had an issue with the capital adequacy. They ran out of money, and then they scaled back their lending. And I was on commission, and when they stopped lending, it's really hard. I said, you know what? Let me go to a different place, a bigger bank where they have more money. I went to Scotiabank, and I was there for 7 years. But then Scotiabank has something similar. When OSFI increased the capital requirement for the banks, they had a bit of issue. They scaled back on lending. And then I realized, you know what? For a long term, I want something sustainable. I do enjoy what I do, but working for a single lender put a lot of limitation. And I felt like, you know what? Why don't I look for a different opportunity where I can, I'm not limited by only one lender or when there are issues. When they go through a financial crunch, then what do? Yeah. At least being a mortgage broker, I have access to many different lenders.
Yeah, it's a good point. I mean, especially for somebody that's 100% commission, it's just like, hey, you can't lend anymore. Well, there goes your paycheck for the foreseeable future, right? So I can totally appreciate how frustrating that would be, and the fact that you experienced that with two different lenders is unique, I would imagine. But the one thing I kind of take away from your career is like RBC, CIBC, Van City, Scotia. You did learn 4 lenders essentially. I mean, there's a gap of time there that things would have changed with policy and whatnot. But would you say like your journey of going to multiple lenders helped you at all from in the transition to being a broker?
100%. When I worked for Van City specializes in construction. And now I learn a lot from what they do. But they do specialize in local credit unions are great when it comes to construction mortgages.
Yeah.
So I learned a lot from there by just working there. And then I came to Scotiabank. Scotiabank had the new immigrant program, Starbright program, and they have different rental offsets. So I learned their strengths as well. By working for different companies, you realize every bank or credit union has different risk appetite. And that I can definitely apply to my role as a mortgage broker, because if, say, this bank doesn't want to lend, I realize there's nothing wrong with the application. It's not a good fit for the bank. And I just take it to a new lender, a credit union, different bank, and where they will love the application. It's the exact same thing, same applicant, same income, same credit, but this bank is a better fit for the client.
I mean, I got to give it to you. I remember when you came on board at A Better Way, and a lot of times when people are transitioning from a bank to being a broker, like it comes with all the challenges that we'll talk about and that most people would understand that are listening to this. But at A Better Way, we have an underwriting program that can really help someone in your shoes or anyone that's coming over from a bank, because there's so many unknowns with policies and different lenders and everything about the business. And I remember talking to you about that as an option. Do you want to work with the underwriting program, and that would allow you just to go on market and focus on that. And you thought about it and quickly shut it down because you wanted to learn the policy yourself. And like you're in our office every day, and I can hear you on the phone, especially when you started calling different lenders every single day, meetings with lenders every single day, learning policy, understanding what they like, what they don't like, which I can only imagine comes from your experience at different institutions, right? And I mean, I got to give it to you, you've learned so much that's allowed you to get deals done where most people, like coming from a bank, you wouldn't understand alternative, you wouldn't understand private because you've never done it. And you've quickly figured a lot of that out, inclusive of reverse mortgages, right? Like you probably know more than most people that have been brokers for 10 or 15 years, right? Just because you've studied it. So I think that just goes to show, understanding the business is so important in your trajectory with what you want to do in this industry, right? And your goals.
100%. Because I work with different banks and credit unions, I realized I talked risk appetite, right? I think the best way to learn is by talking to BDMs. At first, I thought that I was pretty smart. I had my Excel going. I tried to get all the policy of every bank there is. And I tried to memorize everything. Then I realized I just could not do it. Then I realized, why don't I just talk to BDMs? And that's when we actually have a list of all the master list of all the lenders and BDMs. I called like every single one of them and say, have a meeting. Hey, because there's a lot of policies that are very similar. But tell me your niche. What makes you different? Talking to Home Trust, talking to EQ Bank, RFA, talking to Bloom in EQ River, talking to CHIP, Home Equity Bank, and different TD, Scotia already know, but still, I talk to people so that I will know what is the difference. Like give me like 5 minutes, 10 minutes. What makes you different than this lender?
Yeah, that's a great tip. I'd like for anyone starting out, but especially a banker, like, don't come into the industry with like a big ego and think you know it all. Cause like you totally did, like Derek's right. Like I'm in the office every day and you're here every day and I hear you making those calls, and that's such a key piece. That's such a good takeaway for anyone listening that, maybe doesn't feel like they have the knowledge or they have like the expertise to kind of deliver for their clients, or they're new to the industry, or like in yourself, recently at a bank and coming into the industry. Like just that piece alone could really, really help you, especially with confidence. Like now you must feel pretty confident at this point in your career when speaking to a client and knowing what they can or can't do. And if they don't, and if ultimately you don't have a solution, you know exactly what you're going to go do tomorrow to go find it.
Mm-hmm. You know what? That is so crucial. I think it is really crucial because by talking to BDMs, the relation with BDMs is very important, right? And as you mentioned, you got to stay humble. Like I say, I could be like, I've been doing this for 20 years. I know what I'm talking about, and kind of shut them down when they say things. I never do that because we can always learn things from somebody.
Yeah, totally. And I mean, one thing that I mentioned, I definitely would have mentioned this to you, but because of that major fear of becoming a broker when you're at the bank, like the amount of support that we have as brokers, and especially here within A Better Way, like we have some of the best BDMs in the country. We got to keep in mind that these people are commission sales. Like they want more business. They want to talk to more brokers. They want to meet with you. Whereas I think in other industries where it's a more employee type fashion, maybe you don't get the support you need. And that instills a lack of confidence in learning and growing and educating yourself, where, prime example with yourself, you could call 10 BDMs every single day, and I can almost guarantee they're going to pick up the phone or they're going to call you back pretty quick, right? And if you ask them for a lunch this week, they're probably going to make time for it. So just again, coming into this, like if that's a fear of yours, is learning and understanding the industry, there is so much support. It's unbelievable. And you just got to take advantage of it.
I tell my wife sometimes I really feel spoiled being here. Because ABW one of the biggest, offices in the country, right? So we get the best, get platinum status, like we get best everything, best lender access, and BDMs are so nice. They're so nice to us.
Well, they should be nice. And you're right, they are nice. We are very fortunate to have the people that are in this industry. Like I agree with you. I pinch myself every day to be a part of this brokerage and just be a part of this industry. Like, yes, we have some of the best people attached to our office, but there are just an incredible amount of good people in this industry that are always willing to help and collaborate, and even like fellow brokers that are, not just with A Better Way, but outside of A Better Way. Like the willingness to collaborate and help each other is pretty special, and we're pretty fortunate to have that.
It is a really incredible industry, I have to say. I mean, being a banker, career bank for 20 years, now that I'm a mortgage broker, everyone's so helpful.
Yeah.
It is so it's not cliche. They really want to help you. And I was like, at first I was like, I could be their competition. But no, that's not how most brokers think. We want to help each other.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's just so much business out there. Like, we brokered for a long time and did a fair amount of business. And like, it's so far and few between that you would run into another mortgage broker that you're competing with, which is pretty unbelievable, right? So there's so much to go around. And it's great that the industry's adapted like this to this, because it wasn't always like this. People were definitely a little bit more closed off back in the day.
So I just want to move the conversation along because there's some cool stuff I want to get into, especially around your personal life. You do some pretty amazing extracurricular activities outside of work, and I definitely want to dive into that because it's actually pretty fascinating. But before we do, I just want to touch on, what do your day-to-day operations look like? Like, what is a typical day like for you?
Every day, I think I share with anybody who wants to be a mortgage broker, you got to build a daily routine. You can't be just sitting at home, just sleeping till like 9, 10, and then, get up and, pick up your phone and hopefully somebody call me, hopefully email. You can't do that, right? You got to be disciplined, right? I'm doing the same thing that I did when I was a mortgage specialist with as a Scotiabank. I wake up, say 6:30. If I can run, I go for a run. If not, that's okay. And then prepare lunch for kids or do the dishes one. But then, and I come to the office by 8:30, 9 o'clock. I open my laptop. I plan my day every day. I have my planner. I create a list of things to do. I'll work on I review the list that I have, the deals that I'm working on. And I plan the day. And the one thing I try to do is, this is what I learned when I was working for Scotiabank, and the guy who hired me, Scotiabank, he emphasized that you gotta make sure you do. He call it 5 buckets. It's 5 buckets, but he said, think about your business, study your business. You gotta study where your deals come from. Is it repeat clients? Is it from marketing? Is it from realtor? Is it from a branch network? Think about where your deals are coming from, and every day you gotta fill those buckets every day. You can maybe call one call, like call your previous client, call your realtor, call the marketing person. It could be your say lawyer, financial planner, or it could be your previous colleague from in different bank. Because I work for Scotiabank, I work for Advance. I do know quite a bit. I've been doing this for 20 years. I know a lot of people. To me, I don't try to sell things. I just want to stay in touch. Hey, is there anything I can do for you? And then just, if there's no business, that's okay. Even if I don't get any referral from realtor, that's okay. Try to get to know them. Are we similar? Do you have similar personality? Can you help each other?
Yeah, it's a good point. I mean, so like, I see you day to day just being in the office, which we have that opportunity to watch each other work, and like, you're a hard worker, and it's clear that you're diligent with your routine, and that's obviously how you're staying organized during busy times. I would imagine, like, when it gets really busy, how do you keep yourself on track and not deviate from those staples that you've just mentioned?
When it gets busy, I do the same thing, but I just work longer hours. Right? That's what it comes down to. But I think creating a list is old school, but I think it's very effective. Write down, like, you have a list of deals you're working on. You could have it on Excel, you could have it on CRM system, you could have it in a piece of paper. I do have planner that I use, and then I also have Excel that I use. I do have CRM, but then so you gotta do what works for you. But I have planner. I write things down and mark, and then I update it when I take quick notes. If I have to write things down, it takes too long. I use Excel, and then I also have CRM. CRM system. I use Blue and also Velocity. I guess I'm more familiar with Velocity, but Blue, getting to know it. But yes, you gotta have something. You gotta create a list.
Yeah, fair. So I want to touch on just client relationships and your approach to building and maintaining strong relationships. What works for you? Because I know, like you just mentioned, you have that diligent schedule. You're calling your whether it's repeat clients, you're calling your center of influence. What is that magic sauce for you that helps you build and maintain those strong relationships that fuel your business?
I'm an Excel guy. I learned this from my previous manager. Thanks, Carlos. I have a list on Excel. So like I have a list of deal funded, to which lender, Is it A or is it B or is it private reverse? I have a list. I have Excel. And then I know Excel's not the best, so that I'm not trying to use, my lifesaver for me was Gold Rush Velocity. Because it's quite busy now, so I don't have time to call my clients sometimes. But then I'm getting like thank you messages from clients. I'm like, oh, I didn't do anything. And then I realized, oh, it was someone's birthday. It's like, oh, yes, I didn't text this person at 8 a.m. Sunday. It was Velocity.
Yeah.
The Gold Rush did it for me. So it's actually, I need to utilize it more and more, but Gold Rush has been great for me.
Gold Rush it's such a talked about topic this
Right.
year, and
Yeah.
we just wrapped up the DLCG University event in BC and in Alberta. It's when this episode comes out, Toronto will have passed as well. The one thing that was driven home there was obviously Gold Rush and the importance of it, and there was a lot of negative feedback from brokers in the audience that are like, all I hear about is Gold Rush. I'm sick about hearing about Gold Rush, and I think the key to it is like, yeah, it is a software, it is a tool that can help you automate, and it's a no-brainer from that perspective. Like just what you explained there, like there's instant success from it, but it's just the concept of staying in touch with your clients. Like if you don't want to use Gold Rush, then you better be doing something else or using something else to have the same impact. Because the whole play with Gold Rush is to stay in touch with your clients, be there as a resource, make sure you remind them that you're still there. Because for a lot of people, they do the mortgage with the mortgage broker, they never hear about them again, and they forget who they are. They forget their name. Like I talk about this example a couple times. Like I have a great guy that brings me firewood, and I didn't save his phone number in my phone book, and I wish I did because I really want to call him, and I really wish he had Gold Rush and followed up with me about firewood tips or tricks about making fires, because I would definitely have remembered him and called him back. So I think like, getting away from the term Gold Rush and just remembering that it's just a strategy to stay in touch with your clients is so important. And yeah, it's refreshing to hear that because it is such a key ingredient. Hey everyone, Dean here. Quick timeout from the episode to share with you the ABW Tuesday Mortgage Memo, your weekly market highlights sent directly to your inbox every Tuesday. This is certainly one you're not going to want to miss, so make sure to sign up now. You can do so with a link in the show notes, or you can head to joinabw.ca and sign up there. This is a high-level summary of market developments, regulatory updates, and housing trends every Tuesday. So hope you enjoy it, and back to the show.
Well, we talk about the importance of CRMs so often, probably too much, but so, someone goes and gets a CRM, they have all their data in there. Then there's the next step of actually utilizing it. And now to communicate with your clients, you have to create templates and you have to build the automation for happy birthdays and everything. So again, not to make this a commercial on Gold Rush, but having a CRM is great, like actually actioning it. And I can guarantee you that there's a lot of people that have CRMs that they're still not communicating with their database, but they have the ability to do it just because it's constant work, constant updates. And Gold Rush has created a lot of awesome templates that are easy to use.
I don't work for Velocity, but I can tell you straight up is when you we talked about being busy. How do you stay connected when you're busy? Like when I'm really busy, I don't have time to call people, right? I'm not gonna use the term Gold Rush because it seems like people don't like it, but the Velocity CRM, the free CRM you don't have to pay, it's there.
Yeah,
I think we just take it for granted. I mean, it's a great system.
Yeah.
And you do an application and you stay in touch. It's automatic. It's amazing.
It really is. And anyways, it's just refreshing to hear that because like you've taken the tools that are given to you, you've implemented them, pretty much done everything anyone would have advised you to do, whether it's, your strategy with, the BDMs, just everything, your routine, everything you do is like exactly what you want to be. And you mentioned like earlier, just like, those bankers that come in and maybe, almost feel like it's a bit of a vacation, like going from, structured role, being an employee, having a schedule, having to show up to the branch, having to go to work and do the things that you have to do to be successful as a mortgage specialist. Like they should not change in this space. And how cool is it to have all these extra tools that you didn't have at the bank that are now assisting you in your business and just continuing to have that, disciplined approach to showing up to work and doing all the same things that you always have done, but to even going to another level. It's just cool to see. So congratulations on that. You've definitely been like a role model from that perspective. So I want to wrap up with some personal development stuff, and talking about your extracurricular activities. you've ran marathons, you swim earlier in the morning, you play golf, you ski, you snowboard. How important is like, the healthy life, healthy work-life balance that you clearly, portray and do every day? Like, how important is that to you? And maybe just tell us a little bit about, how those things motivate you and why you keep doing them.
I really believe these was the most important things in your life because, I mean, this is not end. I mean, we love to be successful. It's not the end goal of what we do, right? We want to make, we want to be happy. We want to help our family. We want to stay healthy. But I've seen so many successful people who get, they work so much, they're so stressed, and then they get, they get sick. And doesn't matter how much money you make, if you're sick, it doesn't mean anything, right? So being around, as long as possible for my family is very important to me. And also, what we do is very stressful. We are always in the middle. We are connecting clients, lenders, lawyers. What we do is very stressful. So to me, running really helps. If I run, it helps with my stress level. I want to do things with my body so to keep me fit. At the same time, help with my stress management. So running, I started with running, and then actually I did triathlon. I did off-motor swim, and one of my clients got me into hiking. So I climb mountains and I snowboard. I'm a certified snowboard instructor.
I didn't know that.
So I do. It's fun. It's just I love snow. I love mountains. So it's just fun. At the same time, it's, keeps you stay active.
I've had many conversations with you in passing, and you've shared with me that what you just did over the weekend or last night or yesterday, and it's always different activities. So that's why I wanted to touch on this, because you really do try it all, it appears. That's a really good reason, a really good why, and I respect that. What is, out of all of these activities you do, what is your go-to? What is the one thing that you just can't live without when it comes to these fun activities?
When it comes down to it, I gotta run. Compared to even cycling, swimming, during winter I love snowshoeing and snowboarding. Snowboarding, I'm excited about this season. I think we're gonna get a lot of snow.
Pure so, yeah.
Yeah, but during summer, spring, fall, I gotta run. When I feel down and really stressed, I just go for a run. It really helps a lot.
It's interesting you bring that up, and I would guess that if you asked 10 people that actively exercise in whatever capacity it is, swimming, running, lifting weights, most people would tell you that it's not even for like the physical health component of it. Like obviously that's a benefit, but I feel like most people are addicted to exercising because of the mental stress relief that you get from it. And like I've had that, like if I don't do it, I feel like I need to do it at some point. I need to find time to get it into my day. It's interesting. And just listening to you talk about business and then personal life, you can tell like the underlying factor of all that is discipline. Like to do I've never done a triathlon, and I probably won't, or a marathon.
Oh yeah, I'm sure you can do it. You're super fit.
I'm tall. I don't know if I'm fit, but it was something that stood out to me. I mean, Dean asked you, how do you stay on track with your activities and your goals in your day to day? And you said you just stay later. Like, how many people do not stay later? Like that's true discipline, right? And I think that same component goes into your personal life, whether it be how you deal and manage, your family affairs or exercise, what have you. I mean, again, that's just something that stood out to me about yourself. And I can tell you that it's true because again, we sit here and listen to you on the phone and, just the way that you manage your business in your day to day. So that's a big piece that I think everyone should focus more on.
So question for you. Are there any books, podcasts other than the Mortgage Broker podcast or resources that you'd recommend to other brokers?
Yeah, I think it's really good to read books. There are a lot of good books out there. The Be a Better Broker series by Dustin Woodhouse is like must read. It's incredible. And one book I'd like to introduce is called Same as Ever. Same as Ever by Morgan Housel.
Okay.
Because we are all scared about the AI and all these machines and all these taking over. We're gonna lose our job, all that stuff. But the Same as Ever talks about focusing on things that do not change. So instead of talking about AI and all the other stuff, how about focusing on relationship? Why don't you become somebody that people can trust.
Mm-hmm.
What we do is the people business, right? Just be somebody, be resourceful, someone they can trust, and they can come talk to you.
I like that. I've never read the book. I'm definitely going to. I appreciate that. That's a really good piece. I mean, it is like there's so much stuff going on, especially with AI, especially with tech. Like there is a lot of distraction, and yeah, I like that. That's really good. So we talked about this throughout, just some of the tips. I mean, I think I know where you're going to go with this, but is there any tools, tips, or tactics that you think would be beneficial to share? I mean, this could be a strategy. This could be a piece of software. This could be Gold Rush, anything that we've talked about. Is there anything that you'd say, you just want to share and a good takeaway for our listeners?
I want to go back to building a daily routine. Being a mortgage broker, you just keep it simple, wake up. And for me, it's hard for me to stay home. It's so easy to just watch YouTube or Netflix and just waste whole day.
Yeah.
So if it's not in the office, sometimes if I want to change things up, I go to Tim Hortons, Starbucks, work from there. Because I need to be out of the house and start my day away from home and focus on my work. And they build daily routine that works for you. If you enjoy working from home, that's okay too. But just build a daily routine and stick to it. And discipline, I wish I was more disciplined, to be honest with you. Sometimes I feel like I'm lazy.
You're not.
But I think it's the daily routine. And then I would say creating a list of things you do daily.
Yeah.
Every morning, creating a list that you should accomplish. And that will really help, because when you get busy, you forget things, right?
Fair.
Having a master list really helps.
Fair.
There's also a huge sense of accomplishment when you've achieved everything on your list for
100%.
that day, right? Like there's a huge emotional component to that, to be able to go home, with a clear head. So yeah, I like that tip. I do that.
Okay, so to wrap up here, a couple things. Looking ahead, what are your goals for next year?
My goal for next year is scaling.
Scaling, okay.
And be more efficient. Because when I get busy, I work long hours. I'm always thinking about how can I be more efficient with what I do?
Yeah.
How can I scale what I do? That's my always big homework.
So yeah, we've talked about that in the office. So like you mentioned, like looking at potentially, maybe partnering with somebody and then sharing costs of like a new employee, whether it's somebody that's helping you with document fulfillment, underwriting, those sorts of things. So that's cool. I think that's a good approach. I think you're on the right track. You're already planning that and talking about that. Outside of that, I have a fun question for you. So if you could go back to Ben when you first became a banker, and I mean, you could actually forward this to 2014 when you first became a mobile mortgage specialist. What advice would you give that version of Ben?
Probably same thing. Build daily routine. Stay disciplined. Just every day sounds mundane, but call the client, stay connected. When you have time, pick up the phone and just call the clients. That's simple as that. Create a list of things you need to do daily, and then try to achieve the list. Achieve all the when you check up every item on the list, it feels really good. As Derek mentioned, it feels fantastic. So those two simple things.
All right, I love it. Okay, closing thoughts. How can our listeners get a hold of you? Are you open to anyone reaching out? I mean, you're such a social guy in the office. I know you're willing to help. Are you open to people reaching out and getting your information?
Just Instagram.
Instagram. Okay.
Ben Cho Vancouver. Instagram.
Okay.
You'll see a bunch of. I'm a foodie, so
Okay.
you see a lot of photos like food and restaurants that I go to. But
Awesome.
just message on Instagram or just give me a call.
Okay, great. We'll link all your contact information in the notes. Again, thank you very much for joining us. Like, you bring a lot of value to our listeners, especially with just your journey and how you manage your work-life balance. It's impressive. So thanks for joining us, and we're on to the next one.
Well, thanks for having me.
Thank you for tuning in. If you found value in this show, please subscribe to our channel on your preferred platform. We're available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube. Your support is incredibly appreciated. We also welcome your reviews and feedback, which are crucial in helping us deliver outstanding educational content. Feel free to share your thoughts. A 5-star review would be fantastic if you think we earned it. Lastly, a vital announcement about Backpack Buddies, our chosen charity for 2025. This remarkable organization addresses a hidden hunger issue many are unaware of in British Columbia. While school districts provide meals during school hours, numerous children face food scarcity at home, particularly during the weekends. Backpack Buddies steps in to support these vulnerable children, ensuring they have easy to prepare, familiar food for weekends. This is achieved through collaborations with schools and an extensive distribution network. Your contribution can make a significant difference. With just $20, you can give a child in need a food bag from Backpack Buddies filled with enough meals and snacks to sustain them over the weekend and more. Once again, thank you for listening and see you on the next one.